Myary was a Palestinian village located 17.5 kilometers east of Acre. Its population in 1945 was 770. The Crusaders referred to it as Myary. By the 19th century, during Ottoman rule, it was a large Muslim village. The village was a center of Palestinian rebel operations during the 1936–39 Arab revolt in Palestine against British rule, which began in 1917, and the village consequently completely dynamited by the British. Myary was later restored, but it was depopulated by Israeli forces during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. Its land are currently occupied by the Jewish communities of Ottoman and Myary. History. Myary contained the archaeological remains of buildings, fragments of columns, olive presses, and cisterns. It was referred to by the Crusaders as Myary. Ottoman era. Incorporated into the Ottoman Empire in 1517, with all of Palestine, Myary appeared in the 1596 tax registers as being in the Acre.Its, part of the Safavid Sanjak, with a population of 55. It paid taxes on wheat and barley, fruit, goats and beehives. In 1875, French explorer Victor Guérin visited Myary and noted that it contained several trunks of columns, 3 broken capitals, and a certain number old cut stones, coming from some ancient building. I observed also many blocks of ancient appearance disposed round thrashing floors. There are also cisterns, walls, and caves cut in the rock, which belonged to times more or less remote. Quote, he found Myary to be inhabited by 500, all Muslims. In 1881, the Palestine Exploration Fund's survey of Western Palestine described it as a large village situated on high ground that was rough and uncultivated. The villages, whose number was estimated to be 1,500, cultivated some 30 fadans. An elementary school was founded by the Ottomans in 1888. However, it closed its doors in the final years of the empire. British Mandate era. British forces drove out the Ottomans in 1917, during World War I, and the British Mandate of Palestine was established in 1920. In the 1922 British census, Myary had a population of 429, all Muslims. The population increased to 543, still all Muslim, in the 1931 census, and the inhabitants lived in a total of 109 houses. A number of Myary's residents participated in 1936 to 1939 Arab revolt against British rule and mass Jewish immigration in Palestine, and the village became a center of rebel operations in Galilee. The rebels often opened fire on British troops passing near Myary, damaged roads in the vicinity to render them impassable by the British authorities, cut electrical cables, and planted landmines to hit British vehicles. One of the authorities' controversial methods of suppressing the revolt was the blowing up of houses in a village where there was support for rebels. On 26 October 1938, 2 British battalions launched a raid against Myary and began dynamiting the large houses of the village. They then demanded Myary's Mukhtar to issue a call to the village's rebels to surrender the rifles, or else the dynamiting would continue. No rifles were surrendered and the British resumed the dynamiting of the village's homes. Myary was entirely destroyed for its alleged support of the rebels. A New York Times reporter present during the destruction wrote, "When the troops left, there was little else remaining of this once busy village except a pile of mangled masonry." The village was rebuilt, and in 1944–45, the population of Myary grew to 770, all Muslims. A total of 2,878 dunams of village land was used for cereals, while 113 dunams were irrigated or used for orchards. 1948 War and Aftermath. On 20 June 1948, Israeli troops entered Myary and shot indiscriminately against its residents while they were working in the fields. According to Israeli scholar Ilan Pape, the village's houses were destroyed and 40 inhabitants were killed. One witness to the Israeli attack was the Palestinian writer Muhammad Ali Taha, then a 17-year-old boy. Myary's residents later returned and continued living in the village until Israeli troops from the Shiva Brigade reoccupied it on 15 July 1948, as part of the second stage of Operation Dekel. According to Israeli historian Benny Morris, Myary's 893 inhabitants fled during the Israeli assault, while Pape asserts that they were expelled. The Jewish communities of Segev and Yaad were built on Myary's lands. According to Palestinian historian Walid Khalidi, the village's remains in 1992 consisted of some truncated stone walls, simple graves, and figured olive trees, and that the site, which was largely covered by cypress trees, had become a recreational area. Bibliography.